So welcome to the session. So we are going to have a session on resume. Basically, just how to create your resume from the beginning. Since for many of you, this will probably be the first time you'll be creating a resume. So, what is a resume? So, a resume is basically your way of explaining who you are. It's basically a written page. It's a one-page description which tells somebody who you are. And why do you need it? Because when you're like, let's say, applying to job applications or something, you need to explain somebody, they don't know you as a person, they haven't met you, they aren't familiar with your work. So to make them familiar with who you are and what have you done in your career, you prepare something called a resume. A very simple example of a resume could be something like this. So basically your name, your education and all those details, we will revisit this thing. Okay, so there are a couple parts of resume. Sanindra, would you like to take over?
Okay, sure. So basically, this section will talk about how, like, things that you can include in the resume. So firstly, experience. Experience will include if you have done any prior internships or any externships or something like that, or maybe you have some experience in some position that you're applying for as a full-time employee or something, so you can include that. Or even like in my resume, I had also included my WTA scholarship as my experience, because it's a mentorship program, and uh, like you can, whatever you think is valid and can fall in that category, you can include that. So in next is education. So in education, you will obviously be including your university name, your department, your GPA, and if you want to include your high school and your higher secondary such grades and all, you can include that. Then projects are every project that you have worked on, be it in a hackathon or in a personal project. If it's a team project, then try to mention your contribution in that. If if you have led a project or something, then do mention that. And in projects, you should describe in details what exactly you have worked on and what are the, like, you can talk about the tech stack that you have used, but don't make it too long. Try to make it in bullet points. That's what I go for. And whatever you think is most crucial about describing the project, you should put that, and don't make it too big. In achievements, of course, you can put, if you are into competitive programming, then you can put in the good ranks that you have in some competitive contests that you participated in, maybe Google Kickstart, or even Codeforces contests or CodeChef contests also are valid. You can put that. Or in achievements, you can also put, if you have any national level or something, some kind of coding or hackathon or something, some kind of you have won prizes or something, awards, you can put that. Even some people in first years, I think they also include their JE ranks and JE percentiles in anything which is all India or like at a national level, you can include that. So that's then we come to skills. So skills, you can, like, in skills mostly we include languages that we know, and um, softwares that we have worked on. Maybe if you're into web development, then you can include Vue if you have worked with that, React if you have worked with that. If you're into machine learning, then you can include, if you have worked with TensorFlow, then that. If you're in C++, if you know C++, then add that, the languages that you know. And anything that you think is a skill, you can include that. And even like in my resume, I had included version controls like Linux and Unix systems. And there are some people who use ratings for skills, which I think is not good. Uh, in my WTF workshop on resumes, we had been told that ratings like like giving stars or something on 1 on 5, or something like that, is not a good practice when you're talking about skills, because the recruiter, when they see uh, grading scale of yours, they do not actually understand on what basis these skills you have built. So avoid doing those. But if you have to do it, then use that only when you're talking about what languages you know, like C++, Python, or something. Only in that case, maybe you can use a grading scale. Other than that, don't use grading scales in skills. But it's a lot of templates that have that, I think. And then, okay, of course, you have to give your contact details, like LinkedIn profiles, handles, and coding profiles that you think are presentable. Other than that, you have to also mention your mail and contact details, because if your resume is selected, then people have to know how they can contact you. And then hobbies and extracurricular activities, companies like it if you have formally worked on any, like if you have done any social, uh, anything that social contributions, like your social work, you can include that. Or you have like any hobby that you have pursued and won something, for example, like at a national level probably, or even a state level, whatever you think is good. So you include that in hobby section. But try to keep your resume not more than one page. Don't make it too long, and try to make it in bullet points, because paragraphs and long sentences, try to avoid those, because a recruiter only spends nearly a few seconds on each resume, and they're not really going to read everything that you're going to write. So make sure that your resume has everything that you want people to know about you highlighted, so that they can just see those uh, things that you want to highlight in a few seconds. So yeah, that's it. Shadidi, do you want to continue on this?
Yeah. So let's like take this example, this resume with us, and let's try to find out all the things we just discussed, another discussed over here. See, we have the first section we had was experience. That is what all has a person worked as, a software engineering experience or an intern experience. So you look at this example here, we have the name at the top and then the contact details, as Sanandita mentioned. So these are the details which somebody will use to contact you. And then here comes the experience section here. So this person has worked as at Facebook as software engineer, at Coursera as engineering intern, and then at Google and one more company. Also, whenever you're mentioning something, like whenever you're mentioning your experience, let's say you're mentioning your experience at Google that you worked as a software engineering intern, always mention what you did there. Whatever were you responsible for, what were the areas you worked on, what was your project. Always mention that, because just saying that you were an intern does not give any information to the recruiter. You have to tell what you did so that they can figure out if the area of what you worked on is actually like a meaty part for them or not. So this basically gives description of what you did. It's basically sort of a way of highlighting yourself. The whole purpose of a resume is to just sell yourself and basically just make it catchy to the recruiter, so that they shortlist you. So that's why it's better for you to put as much detail as you can about your responsibilities, so that they are much aware of your work. Going to the next part, education part, as Sanandita mentioned, you should have it. And here we can see a person has mentioned their education. That is, this is the college name, the branch they were in, like the BTech or a Master of Engineering in this thing, the graduation dates. Similarly, for this, this is the bachelor's for this, and this is the high school. And this here comes a CGPA a person has mentioned. And if you have some achievements here in, like, for example, if you were the topper of your class or something, that also like is a good point to mention, because you're trying to project yourself in a good light as much as you can. The next part is projects. And if we look here, we can see like this person has a couple of projects in like research projects. So for example, this person has a research project on in this area, and then one more here. So same with projects, just like you did with internships. Whenever you mention something, the name or something of a project, always mention whatever you did. What was your responsibility? What were your roles? What was the project about? And don't assume the person is a technical person. So try to explain it in a terms which a recruiter can understand. So recruiters are not like engineers, so they will not understand if you use specific tech stack, specific technology and all. Try to make it simple for them to understand and show what you did. Your achievements, as again like awards, achievements, whatever were there, this actually tell the recruiter that how good you are at a skill. So if you say, let's say you are a very good you're a very good software engineer or something like that, so maybe it's better if you have something to demonstrate that, something like a hackathon experience or something other than that. If you say you are good at data structures and algorithms, why will I believe that until unless you give me some proofs? So these awards are sort of proofs for the recruiter to sort of validate you. Comes to skill parts, so this is whatever skills you know. So in this case it could be like programming, for example, or whatever languages you know, as Anandita mentioned, and other skills like your software tools and all. Just we have it here. You also need to have your contact details and LinkedIn profiles or GitHub profiles. So those details actually matter a lot too, because like they will help you. A LinkedIn profile is sort of like your digital resume. Uh, a lot of recruiters have a look at the LinkedIn profile and people contact them through LinkedIn. So this is a very important point to have. GitHub is a showcase for your projects. So are you aware of GitHub? Like, have you people, has anybody ever worked with it or something? So I cannot see the chat. So it would be good if you could just unmute and speak.
Okay, Proka is asking, do we have to provide certifications for the awards?
Certifications for the awards. Do you mean certifications such as like if you did a programming course or something like that, certification for that, or like certification such as your Kickstart certificate or something like that? Most of the time people don't care about your certificates, to be very honest. Like if you were saying that you are at the top of this, they don't just generally check your certificate. Your saying is enough. So I don't think like it matters. Sanita, you want to add something here? Your thoughts?
Yeah, even I don't think attaching certifications really matter. Like they will take it for granted that whatever you are writing is legit.
Yeah. Any more questions people like? And for those of you who aren't familiar with GitHub, whenever you create some projects or something, like let's say you were working on a software or any code, piece of code or something which you have written, you can, it's GitHub is sort of like an online storage service, you can say. It's actually a version control system, but we can get to that later. For now, just assume it's sort of like a storage service for you, which can give you the earlier parts too. So if you made created some software, then you later change it to something else, and then later to something else. GitHub allows you to go back to any of these versions. Anyway, so for now, just assume it's like a portfolio of your projects, and then you can put other relevant links too. Apart from that, your hobbies and extracurricular activities. So these hobbies, why do we need to put them? So the reason is because they show skills other than your technical skills. So for example, if you say that you played as a basketball player or some other sports player, that shows you're capable of teamwork. If you say that you volunteered at like some service, like volunteered at some teaching service or other social causes, it basically shows that you actually care about the society. So these hobbies and the extracurricular activities, they tell the recruiter about things which are not technical, about you as a person. Okay, so this is what like one resume, typical example of a resume looks like. And we have some certain do's and don'ts. Another, do you want to take over?
Okay, yes. So the first point, that is that make the resume readable and presentable, is very important. So like be consistent with your spacing and namings. Like if you are in one place, if you're putting something in, suppose like Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur. So if in one place you are making the all the first letters of each of these words in capital, then try to make it consistent. Like if you're mentioning the same name in somewhere else in the resume, don't change that format. So just like that, if any other thing, you should like maintain this consistency with spacing also, and even punctuations. And readable and presentable, of course, like this point cannot be stressed on more. But like you should make your don't make your resume very dirty. Like some people have resumes which are just long paragraphs, and like there are no proper breaks, so it's very difficult to read. And like I said, that a recruiter will only spend a few seconds on your resume, and a good resume is something that will actually convey whatever it has to convey to the recruiter in that many seconds only. So it has to be readable, and just highlight the headings in whatever you want them to know about you, in especially like some achievements or what like skills that you want to highlight. The next is keep information in reverse chronological order. So basically, if you have passed out if you have graduated from college first, like last, so that is going to come first, and then your higher secondary, and then your secondary examination. So when you're mentioning the education, I think you will probably all know this because we all had CV formats in our English in boards, right? So there we used to do this. The degree that we had the latest have the latest is put first, and then we go back in that same chronological order. Yeah, like here he has the Cornell University, what is it, masters, which,
Masters.
yeah, which he probably had the latest, the degree that he had the latest put first, then his bachelor's, and then his school. So okay, so yeah, and maintaining consistency, like I said, that fonts and colors and punctuations and spacing, all these things should be consistent, because recruiters also see that if you are attentive about your resume or not. Like if you make spelling mistakes somewhere, or these mistakes that you are making, some like you're lighting the full form of your institute in some way on one part and in some way in the other part. So it's not something that leaves a good impression on the recruiter. So don't do that. Check your resume many times so that you can avoid these mistakes. Okay. Yes, follow proper capitalization is the same thing that you have to, like for some, I think for like even latex is a language that we use to make the resumes. So latex has a particular way it's written, where L, T and X is capital. So you have to know how it's written, so don't just write small L, small T and small X. So those capitalizations are also important. Keep those in mind. HTML, CSS, all these things, uh, you should know how it is actually written. Like CSS, C, S, and S are capital. So these capitalizations should be kept in mind and should be consistent. Then give detailed description of projects and achievements. Yes, this is important. Like I said, that if you've participated in a project and you have been lead in that project, it's a team project, mention that, and mention what your contribution is in a team project. In okay, projects should be like, they should be very clearly explained to people who, like Diksha Didi said, that recruiters are not necessarily software engineers. So it should be clearly explained what you have exactly done, what is the project exactly doing. Your tech stack also, if you want to, if it's impressive, then include the tech stack. And in achievements also, you should in achievements try to put in numbers. Like if you have ranked second or third, try to put, if you have been selected among probably the best 100 people or something, then try to put in numbers, like how many people participated with that. Like if like in J means we have the percentile, so we will know that how many people you are ahead of. So put in numbers. Numbers are very beneficial. Even in projects, like if you are doing a machine learning project, then you will have accuracies. Accuracy numbers are very important, that show how good your project has been. So if you get this, if you mention these numbers as much as you can, like these show the recruiters, these people, it's easier for them to understand how well you've performed in these things. Then tailor the resume to the role. Of course, like if you're whatever role that you're applying for, it should be suited to that role. Like of course, if you're applying for a job of a web developer and your resume is all about machine learning skills and anything, or vice versa, so it doesn't really show what you have done as a web developer, right? And you're applying for that role. So yes, this is important that your resume should actually be on based on the role that you're. Sorry, we can add more about this.
Yeah. So, Samantha already mentioned that tailor it to the role. So, the reason why is it because, as she already mentioned, if you are applying as a software engineer, so think from the eyes of the recruiter. If you are a recruiter and you have one CV here and you are hiring for, let's say, software engineering role. So, you have one CV here which tells you all the software engineering related projects, and there is one person whose CVs give you all like non-related areas. So, maybe some HR experience or something like that. Would you really consider an HR experience for a software engineering role? Definitely not, right? Like you're hiring for a software engineering role, you are interested in seeing the software engineering skills of a person. So that is why you should be tailoring it. Any questions so far, people? Otherwise, we can move on to the don't section. The mistakes you people make. If any questions, please feel free to ask here. Any doubts, anything which you have, any concerns? So I assume nobody's having any questions or something. So the don't part is basically the mistakes which people generally make. So apart from the mistakes, which are just the opposite of these do's, there are couples mistakes like spelling mistakes. You will be surprised at how often this happens. So a lot of time people don't even look at the spelling they are making, spelling mistake they are making. Obviously, they might be accidental, like this wasn't probably intentional, but think of the impact it makes on the recruiter's head. So they get a resume, let's say this resume, and somewhere the person has misspelled software engineering as SOFTWRE. So what will you think? You will probably think that the person is careless enough to not even review their CV. So that doesn't reflect good on you. So don't make spelling mistakes. Double check your resume if you are having any spelling mistakes or anything like that, any grammatical mistakes, for example. Just check it and make sure you don't make these mistakes. And don't use short forms like YR for year and STD for student. It again shows carelessness and like that you're not, it doesn't look professional at all. So if you were using something short here, for example, instead of research, you write RSRH. It can mean multiple things and it doesn't look professional. So don't do that. And don't be shy of bragging about yourself. So, of course, like when you're writing about your experience, this is just, if I am a recruiter, this is all I have to know about you. This is all the information I have. I haven't seen you in person. I'm not familiar with your work. So if you don't advocate for yourself, if you don't tell me what you did, if you don't tell me what are the achievements you have, I won't know. And I will just assume you don't have any achievements. So just feel free to brag about yourself. And if it's based on facts, it's certainly not bragging, right? So just like feel free to write about yourself and all the good things you did. Samantha, do you want to add something here?
Okay, like in don'ts, I said with some templates always give you that skill. In skills, they always give you that linear scale that you can grade yourself. Like I said, try to avoid that because the recruiters don't exactly know what that linear scale stands for, how you are grading yourself on it. So don't do that. And apart from that, you can use some keywords like led or some like took responsibility for. And there are a lot of keywords available on the internet for resumes. You can check them out and you can use them for bragging about yourself.
Okay, so that is all we had. One more thing which I wanted to add was when you're creating your resume, try to use LaTeX. So LaTeX is a typesetting language. I mean, it's sort of like you have. I assume you people have are familiar with HTML. Are you people or not? Like anybody familiar with HTML and all? Okay, okay. Yeah, so it's basically tells you how a certain thing is displayed. Similarly, when you're making resumes, we have a language called LaTeX. I shouldn't exactly call it a programming language. It's basically a way to write your resume in HTML like code. So I think I can show you probably an overleaf account. So Overleaf is a website which you can. I is it visible? I hope it is, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. So Overleaf is basically a website for working in LaTeX. So when you're having something in LaTeX, so let's say so a file in LaTeX is like having text extension .tex. It's basically and LaTeX is actually spelled LATEX, but it's not called LaTeX. So so LaTeX has couple of templates. So if you just look here, I assume it's large enough to be visible, the font size. So it's sort of like a formatting which basically tells you how a thing should be, how the format should be. So something like, for example, I can have a specific tag here called CV name, which where I can put my name in. So it will just put it here in the CV name section. I can have a tag for email address here, CV mail, and then instead over there I can just put my email inside, and it will convert it to an email format. So with LaTeX, just like you can see it here, with LaTeX you don't actually have to worry about how your format is going to look like. LaTeX takes care of formatting pretty much for you, like the spacing and all that. It takes care of you, and these resumes look very presentable too. So it makes converts the resume in a PDF format, and which like is much better because when you're having a Word format, the display or like the the way a word will appear to somebody basically depends on, it can vary. So if your machine has one particular format for words and my machine has some other, it will like vary and it will not look good. So this is why we would recommend you to like go with LaTeX. So there are a couple of, we have things called templates here, which basically you can just edit them and use them. So this is the resume which I have created for myself is like with a template here. And yeah, so these templates actually like help you get get up easily, get up and working easily. So that is something which I wanted to share. So Nanda, do you want to add something or like give them some pointers about LaTeX?
No, I think overlays and its sites that you can get a lot of templates for LaTeX on these sites. Those are editable. Edit it to whatever you want to make it. That's all.
Yeah, that is pretty much from my side. If you have any questions or anything you're confused about or any doubts you have, please feel free to ask. Or if anything doesn't make sense, okay, then I guess like we're probably done if people don't have any questions. So one last thing, people, like since you're making your resumes for the first time, So obviously there will be a lot of mistakes which you people will be making. So make a first draft or something and get it reviewed by somebody. So you can reach out to us for review, or you can also reach out to some other seniors for review, but get it reviewed. And if you want, we can we'll share the slides with you if you want for reference, but get it reviewed from somebody, so that like uh, it would be good if somebody reviews a resume, since this is the first time you'll make your resume. Sanjana Sananda, do you want to add anything to that?
No,
I
I
think
think
I
that's
could add one thing. There's one mistake some people made, and that is they added their address in the contact details of the resume. Don't do that. Yeah.
just the phone number, email, and LinkedIn with problems.
I guess then we can probably end the session, since nobody seems to be having any questions. And thank you all for joining in.
Yeah, let's end this now then. Thanks for joining, guys.
Bye.
Enjoy the weekend.